What is up, guys? We are back to r/malicious compliance. Don't want to waste any time today, want to get right into the stories. Just letting you guys know, we have our bonus at the end, so stick around for that. And let's get into the good stuff. See you in a bit. You want the design of a project to be done on time, with restricted overtime, and reduce manpower to reduce payroll expenses? Bold move. At my company, they've been pushing to reduce operating expenses by going after the overtime and also restricting hiring. They have also been pushing more heavily for automation, such as arbitrarily increasing the number of stations an employee has to monitor from 2 to 4 to 3 to 5, and then telling the production lines to figure out how to further automate stuff. Generally, almost everyone is paid by the hour, including engineers and lower level managers. It's not until you get to around department head level that you get switched over to the salary side. Paying holiday overtime for an engineer is expensive. Hiring another engineer is also expensive. Letting maintenance fall behind and having delays in troubleshooting performances from insufficient manpower is even more expensive. Kneecapping a design and allowing problems that could have been solved on paper or computer to spill over into the physical realm, where you have to tell contractors to rip out their work and industrial controls programmers, who are quite expensive, to redo their codes? Genius. Anyways, I was on a project team that was responsible for overhauling a production line, which included significantly modifying or outright replacing a large portion of the stations on the line. We had built some separate prototype stations elsewhere to conduct some testing, and concluded that we were going to need more engineers or hours to tackle some of the issues that already popped up. Project manager requested more engineers and time to complete the project. Her manager crushed that request. Our project manager was later chewed out for pushing us to take excessive overtime. The project manager claimed she was verbally instructed to make your team work more efficiently, not harder, and wasting company money can reflect poorly on your next annual review, or something along those lines. She told us to push forward with a strict 40 hours per week and disregard the problems, because obviously if her manager didn't want to invest in more resources, they would be satisfied with what they end up receiving. Fast forward a few months later, after the project entered the construction/installation phase, and it was turning into a dumpster fire, with us having to tell the contractors to undo or modify the designs on the fly. The project manager's manager managed to hire a few engineers that had recently graduated from college and toss them onto our project team, something that would have been much more helpful before the construction phase started. By the time the project was completed with half-working stations, and for the production engineers/technicians to figure out how to make the new production line work, we were over budgeted by nearly double and exceeded the project completion time by an equally large amount due to the constant rework. But hey, not an hour of overtime worked by a minimal-sized team. So there's no such thing as overtime? Great God to know. Hey Reddit, this is my first post, and it's my boyfriend's story. So, a bit of backstory. My boyfriend's boss is a bit of a dick, but unfortunately, he's also his uncle. My boyfriend works in IT. He handles a lot of complaints regarding servers and general IT stuff. For the past 3 years, he has worked overtime for free. It's difficult to say no to family. He answers his personal phone and has to drive long distances to fix problems clients are having, sometimes at 10 at night. Recently, we've been trying to save money to make a life together. So my boyfriend decided to ask the boss to finally get paid for all the overtime hours he will be working from now on. The boss is livid. He states that he will not pay my boyfriend overtime money, and he shouldn't ask again, and that he should be grateful for his job. He concludes by saying there is no such thing as overtime in this business. Can you see where the malicious compliance comes in yet? So my boyfriend now does not answer any calls after 5 or before 8. The boss now has to take all those calls and drive the ridiculous distances himself. Boyfriend gets called in and is asked why he isn't picking up his phone because the clients are getting really upset at him. Boyfriend answers, "I'm sorry, but you said there is no such thing as overtime." I've never been more proud. Brick it now. I ran into an old coworker and remembered this story about him. It happened about 5 years ago. We worked in a cafeteria on the short order line. Breakfast, lunches, etc. All done on the same flat top. When we were busy, it got dirty fast, and we'd stop and brick it, using a black brick to scrape it clean. Usually, we'd do this when we had no customers, because it takes about 5 minutes. You scrape with the brick, and then clean the surface to make sure there is no dirt left. We finish off by scrambling a few eggs to clean up all the bits and give us a smooth cooking surface. Cue new manager. One of the first things she does is tell us the flat top must be pristine at all times. Old coworker agrees with her. So whenever there's a long lineup and the flat top is dirty, he stops all the orders and spends up to 10 minutes making sure the flat top is pristine. Her words. After a few days, new manager notices that the lineup is longer than usual. She checks out the line and the old coworker tells her why. She can't think of anything to say to him because he was doing as he was told. The police want us to follow the rules? They can do it too. Not me, but comrades were the ones who did this some years ago. Voluntary Fire Brigade Station, small town in Germany. The station was near a street, and you couldn't back up in the garage without blocking off the street, because maneuvering in front of the station was nearly impossible. A firefighter was blocking the street for traffic when a driver in a Mercedes came along. He braked at first, but then accelerated and forced the firefighter to jump out of his way to save his life, or at least his bones. They went to the police and sued that driver. What they didn't know, the driver was the police chief of a station nearby and sued the fire brigade himself. The fire brigade isn't allowed to block the street, only the police is. What they did was Amtsmanzung, impersonating an officer in this case. The case went on till the brigade chief had an idea. If only the police is allowed to block the street, then they can do it from now on. Every time a truck leaves or arrives at the station, the police was called. Cleaning the trucks? Police. Fueling up? Police. Training? Police. Joyriding? Police. More joyriding? You know it. The local station had to get 2 more officers from other stations to handle the volume of requests until the other chief was persuaded, or threatened, to take back his accusations. Since that day, no one ever complained about blocking off the streets while backing up, and the relationship between police and fire brigade has normalized again. No hoodies or jackets in class? Fine. Not as epic as some stories on here, but I still consider this a small win. When I was 15, I went to a small private school. Now, the building itself was pretty old and had radiators in the classrooms and a couple in the hallways. Despite them being on all winter, it was still freezing. My school had a policy of no hoodies were allowed because they were affiliated with gangs, but had no issue selling their hoodies, but that's for another day. And I don't really remember about their jackets. I think it was the noise or something. They were not a sane bunch. My school admin got onto me about wearing a hoodie, even after I told them about how freezing it was. They said it was policy and not allowed. Okay, fine. The next day, I show up with my full body throw blanket. The staff laughed for a minute, But then I told him, you said hoodies weren't allowed. Nothing about blankets. A couple other students started bringing in their blankets. This went on for 4 days. Finally, they broke and said we could wear them again, as long as it's cold and nothing vulgar on them. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed those last few malicious compliance stories. Now, let's get into the bonus, which today is going to be r/crappy designs. Let's do it. I found this at my college. It is truly awful. Win cake and sweets. All you have to do is guess the weight of the and win it as your prize. Guess how many sweets are in the jar, and you are the it's all yours. Only 50p entry. Pretty sure this is how every 3 a.m. Red Bull fueled essay is written up. Anti-Animal Cruelty Club. Animal Cruelty Club. You know, it's this kind of hoodie that I like to imagine all the students wore as soon as that ban got lifted. At a bar, almost made a terrible mistake. No, we don't make mistakes. We just have happy little accidents. Hey, would you look at that? It's every single Tinder conversation I've ever had. Oh, you just touched the butt? Come talk to me when you've raised it up a few degrees. Make money shooting what you love. Oh, you want to feed your family dinner tonight? Don't worry, you just gotta shoot up this box full of kittens and puppies. No big deal. New York style pizza. So either this is the most idiotic store owner I have ever seen, or this is photoshopped. There's no way it's anything else. And that's gonna wrap up today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.